Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And specifically,
All right.
we're going to be looking at it from the point of view of someone who wants to build like a really thriving business.
Right.
Like not one that's just like,
Mm-hmm.
just barely get by, but like a really successful business.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we're going to be using Levine
Okay.
as our guide for this.
Interesting.
And he's the co-founder of
Yeah.
not one,
Oh, wow.
but $2 billion companies.
Wow, okay.
Waze and Move It.
Very impressive.
Yeah. And the book that we're going to be using is Fall in Love with the Problem, Not the Solution.
Okay.
So
I like that.
yeah.
I like that title.
It's very catchy.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think one of the things that's
Yeah.
really great about Levine is
Mm-hmm.
he's like very practical.
Oh.
This isn't like some business school professor who's like, just talking about theories. This is like someone who's actually like
Right. Built stuff.
built these huge global companies.
From the ground up.
So yeah, and so
Yeah.
right off the bat, that title really grabbed me. Fall in love with the problem, not the solution.
Yeah, me too.
What is he getting at there?
I think, well, it's really the core of his philosophy is
Yeah.
that you need to have this like dedicated passion to solving a real problem.
Okay.
That's what's going to fuel you as an entrepreneur through the ups and downs, the
Uh-huh.
roller coaster of
Yeah.
building a startup.
Yeah, because it's not going to be easy, right?
Definitely not. Yeah.
There are going to be a lot of
Yes,
setbacks.
for sure.
And he actually even has this
Oh, wow.
problem qualification matrix where he talks about like
Interesting.
you have to map the pain of the problem.
Okay.
Like how intense is the pain
Right.
and how frequent
Yeah.
against the size of the market.
Okay.
So like a huge market is good.
Right.
But if it's like a mild annoyance,
Yeah.
it's not going to be as powerful as something that's like
A real pain
a
point.
major pain point that people experience all the time.
Exactly.
So it's really about that pain
Yeah.
that motivates both the entrepreneur
Yeah.
and the customer.
To find a solution.
Yeah. And it makes me think of his story about how he got the idea for Fairfly.
Oh, yeah.
He had booked a vacation apartment
Okay.
and thought he'd gotten a really good deal. And then like a week later,
Yeah.
found out that there's a much cheaper offer
Oh, no.
because the place was like empty.
Oh, that's frustrating.
So frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't felt that like when you're booking travel
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, I should have waited,
Right. Totally.
But he turned that into a business,
He did,
Fairfly,
which is great.
which basically automatically finds better deals
Yeah.
on trips that you've already booked.
Smart.
So it's like taking that frustration that he felt
Yeah.
and that other people probably feel
Mm-hmm.
and turning it into a solution.
Exactly.
So I think that's kind of what he's getting at with that.
Yeah.
Fall in love with the problem.
Yeah. Find those pain points
Find those pain
in
points.
your own life.
What are the things that annoy you
What are you constantly complaining about?
that other people are also complaining about?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Because that's where the opportunity is.
But he doesn't,
Yeah.
he's very upfront about the fact that this is not going to be easy.
Right.
He says, building a startup, I is the journey of failures.
Okay.
IS,
Not might be.
not might be, IS,
Yeah.
a journey of failures. So
Yeah.
how do you square that with like falling in love?
That's a good question. I think it's about accepting that failure is a part of the process
Okay.
and not being afraid to fail.
All right.
And actually embracing that fail fast mentality.
Okay.
Like, don't get married to your initial solution.
Okay.
Be ready to pivot
Right.
based on feedback.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get things wrong.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Right.
It took Waze 2 years to even be considered good enough.
Wow.
And that was in just their small initial market in Israel.
In Israel.
Yeah.
So imagine if they had given up
Oh.
after the first year.
Or even after 6 months.
Yeah.
Most people probably would.
Yeah. And I think,
It's tough.
we hear about the overnight successes,
Right.
but we don't always hear
About all the work that went into
the
it.
years of
Yeah.
iteration and setbacks.
Exactly. It's the stuff you don't see.
And even after success,
Right.
there can be bumps in the road.
Oh, for sure.
He talks about Refund It,
Yeah.
which was his company that,
That helped tourists claim VAT refunds. I remember that.
he had to start it.
Yeah.
Like he founded
it
it
did.
and then had to start from scratch and build it again.
Wow.
Like the same company.
Yeah.
Twice.
It's amazing.
So
But
even seasoned entrepreneurs
even seasoned entrepreneurs,
face these setbacks,
it happens.
right? And I think that's why he's
Yeah.
a big proponent of this idea of operating in phases.
Right.
Like you don't try to do everything at once.
Yeah.
First, you have to nail product market fit.
Okay.
Then you focus on growth.
Got it.
And only then
Do you worry about monetization?
do you worry about making money.
Right.
Yeah.
Focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's really easy to get ahead of yourself.
Oh, for sure. Especially when you're excited about an idea.
You're like, oh, we're going to make so much money.
Yeah, and you start hiring all these people.
Hey, you're hiring them.
Spending all this money.
Salespeople, before you even know if
the product's any good.
if anyone wants to buy the thing.
Right.
And he talks about that.
Yeah.
He warns against mistaking early adopter enthusiasm
Oh, yeah.
for true product market fit.
Right.
So what's the difference there?
Well, early adopters are often drawn to new things.
Okay.
They're willing to try things out.
Right.
They're excited about new technology.
Right.
But that initial excitement might not reflect the needs of the broader market.
So
You might have a group of people who are like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But then when you try to sell it to everyone else,
they're like,
nobody's interested.
this is dumb.
Right.
I don't need this.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's dangerous to build a whole sales team before you actually know.
Before you know if there's demand.
People want it.
Yeah.
And it's like burning through cash before you've even
Validated
the idea.
your core value proposition.
How do you avoid that trap?
How do you avoid that trap?
How do you know?
That's where his concept of the most important thing comes in.
Okay.
Or the MIT.
The MIT.
Yeah. It's basically the one thing
Okay.
that the company absolutely needs to focus on
All right.
at any given time.
At this moment.
Yeah. And it's constantly shifting.
Right.
Depending on what phase the company is in. Early on, it might be building the core technology.
Right.
Later on, it might be
Right.
optimizing user onboarding.
Right.
Or a specific feature
Okay.
that's driving engagement.
So it's all about staying
laser focused
on what matters now.
on what matters now.
Yeah.
And that now is always changing
Right.
as your company evolves.
So that's a lot to keep track of.
It is.
Yeah.
That's the nature of the beast.
Speaking of focus,
Yeah.
he also talks about the importance of simplicity,
Yeah.
both for the user and for the company.
Absolutely.
So why is that so important?
He believes that complexity creates barriers to adoption and efficient operation.
Right.
Think about unboxing a new iPhone.
Okay.
It's intuitive.
Right.
You don't need a manual.
You just know how to use it.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's the level of simplicity he aims for.
So even within the company itself,
Yeah.
you want to be streamlining processes,
Making decisions.
making decisions quickly,
Yeah.
avoiding unnecessary bureaucracies.
So less meetings, more doing.
Exactly.
Right.
Sometimes it even means letting go of features
Oh, wow.
right after launch if they don't prove valuable.
So you're constantly evaluating, iterating.
And refining.
Refining.
So there's no room for ego in this.
No, not if you want to succeed.
Not if you want to succeed.
Because the market doesn't care about your ego.
Right.
The market cares about whether your product solves their problem.
But no matter how simple your product, you need money to build it.
You do.
And he's very upfront about
The
challenges of fundraising.
Yes. It's an ongoing, distracting process.
That runs parallel to building the company.
Absolutely.
So how do you convince investors to buy into your vision? Especially in those early stages when...
Yeah, when you're still figuring things out.
You're still figuring things out.
Yeah.
Right.
What's his secret sauce?
Well, he actually has some unconventional advice.
Okay.
He believes in the power of storytelling.
Okay.
Crafting a narrative that investors connect with emotionally.
Right.
And intriguingly, he says it doesn't have to be 100% true.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Is he advocating for lying to investors?
No, not outright lying.
Okay.
But finding a compelling way to frame your idea.
Right.
Something that captures the imagination
Right.
and resonates with the listener.
So it's about
Yeah.
finding a way to really get them
Hooked.
hooked on the idea.
He tells this story about pitching Zeke, which was a company about maximizing in-store credit.
Okay.
And he made up this whole anecdote about a break-in microwave.
A microwave. What does that have to do with in-store credit?
Exactly. But it was a relatable story that resonated with investors and got them excited about the potential of the company.
So it's about finding those human
touch points,
those relatable moments
that make it
real for people.
Real.
Yeah.
So it's not just about
the numbers.
It's about connecting
on a human level.
On a human level.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But even with a great story,
right,
you're going to face rejection.
Absolutely.
Right.
He calls it the dance of 100 no's.
100 no's.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because VCs are looking for those rare unicorns.
Right.
So you're going to hear a lot of rejections.
Yeah.
But he emphasizes keeping those investors updated.
Oh.
Even if they said no initially.
Okay.
Because their interest could be piqued.
Right.
By your progress.
But don't give up.
Don't give up.
After the first no.
Keep them in the loop.
Keep them in the loop.
Yeah.
Also,
And when you do get a yes.
Yes.
He stresses the importance of making sure it's the right yes.
Why is that?
He compares investing to a marriage.
Okay.
You need to choose your partners carefully.
Right. A bad deal can be worse than no deal.
Wow.
You need to be aligned on values, vision, decision-making processes.
So you're not just looking for money.
No.
You're looking for a partner.
A partner who believes in your vision.
Who believes in your vision.
Yeah.
And can help you achieve it.
Exactly. It's a long-term relationship.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, you're dating.
You have to find the right fit.
You got to find the right person to go on this journey with.
Absolutely.
Right.
And speaking of journeys.
Yeah.
Once you've secured that funding.
Right.
Managing that relationship with your investors becomes a key part of the journey.
Right.
And as Levine points out, conflicts are inevitable because founders and investors may have different priorities, different risk tolerances.
Right. So how do you navigate those conflicts?
That's a good question.
How do you make sure that the relationship stays productive and supportive?
He emphasizes establishing clear decision-making processes up front.
So like,
who has the final say on key issues?
Got it.
What are the escalation paths?
Right.
If there's a deadlock.
So you have to figure that out.
Got to figure that out. Before you get the money.
Before you get the money.
Right.
Yeah. And transparency is also paramount.
So
keep the board informed.
Okay.
Even about bad news. Because surprises breed mistrust.
Right.
He gives the example of a company that was facing a downturn.
Yeah.
Some investors pulled back.
Oh.
Others stepped up with additional support.
Oh, wow. No, it really is.
Loyalty matters.
It's like a marriage.
It does. It's a partnership.
Yeah, with all the ups and downs.
Exactly.
And the need for
open communication.
And the loyalty.
Trust.
Right.
Yeah.
But even with the best investor relationships.
Right. Building a successful company ultimately comes down to
building a great team.
Building a great team.
Yeah.
And he has this line that I love.
Okay.
It's so blunt.
Yeah.
He says, firing quickly when someone isn't a good fit is crucial.
Okay.
Crucial.
Yeah.
So why is he so adamant about this?
Because holding on to the wrong people can poison the company culture and hinder its progress.
So it's like a cancer.
It can.
That spreads.
Yeah, and it can stifle innovation.
Right.
It can create negativity. Yeah. It can slow down progress.
Right.
And a decisive leader knows when to make those tough calls.
Even if they're
unpleasant.
Unpleasant.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's something
it's hard.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
Especially
in a startup environment.
When it's like
where everyone's working so closely together.
You're like a family.
Right. It's like letting go of a family member.
Right.
But sometimes
you have to.
You have to do it
for the greater good
of
the company.
Yeah. Right? And he suggests this
it does.
kind of radical method for identifying those who might need to go.
I'm intrigued.
He calls it the sociometric exam.
The sociometric exam.
Okay, so basically it's a process where employees anonymously rank their colleagues.
Oh, wow.
And the person consistently at the bottom of the rankings might be a signal that they're
not a good fit.
Not a good fit.
Interesting.
Right.
So it's kind of...
That's like a data-driven...
Yeah, a data-driven view of
team dynamics and performance.
That's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
It's a little brutal.
It's a little brutal, but I guess...
It can be valuable.
It can be valuable.
To have that objective feedback.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, when it comes to hiring, he uses this really simple question.
Knowing what I know today, would I hire this person again?
Ooh, that's good.
Right.
I like that.
And if the answer is no, then it might be time
to make a change.
For a change.
Even if they've been with the company for a while.
Even if they've been there forever.
Yeah, it's tough.
Right.
But sometimes necessary.
It's that emotional attachment.
Yeah. You got to remove that from the equation.
Right. And be like...
And look at it objectively.
Is this person really
contributing to
the company's success.
Yeah, but even the best team can't succeed.
Right.
If they don't understand
the users.
The
people they're serving.
The people they're serving.
Yeah.
And this is where I think his philosophy of you are only a sample of one comes in.
Interesting.
Like, you might have really strong intuitions.
Yeah, about your product.
But they could be totally wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're just one person.
You're just one person.
You don't represent the entire market.
And he tells this funny story about how the Waze team assumed that users would always input a destination before starting a trip.
Makes sense.
Because that's like how you use a navigation app.
Yeah.
Right.
It's logical.
But it turns out that like 20% of Waze users just open the app without entering a destination.
Interesting.
They were using it for real-time...
For hazard alerts.
Like traffic updates.
Yeah, like police track.
Just to know what's happening around them.
They weren't necessarily going anywhere.
Not even going anywhere.
But they wanted to be in the know.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a great example of like...
Of assuming.
Assuming you know...
Yeah.
How people are going to use...
Your product. And being wrong.
And being totally wrong.
Yeah.
So he really stresses the importance of... Understanding your users.
Your users.
And especially the ones...
The ones who churn quickly.
Yeah. So the ones who like...
Who leave quickly.
Use it. And then they're like...
this is not for me.
This is dumb.
Yeah.
Delete.
Yeah.
Those are the people. You need to talk to. To figure out why they left. Yeah.
And he also emphasizes observing first-time users.
First-time users.
Why is that so important?
Because once you're familiar with a product, you can't replicate that initial experience.
Right.
You already learned how to use it.
Yeah, you know.
So you're no longer the naive user.
So your hand points are.
Right.
Right.
You lose that fresh perspective.
So watching someone use your product for the first time can reveal so much about the usability.
Yeah, the user experience.
Yeah.
Because you're like...
And you're watching for those moments of friction.
You don't even notice it anymore.
Right.
But they're like...
They're struggling to figure out how to do something. That seems obvious to you, but it's not obvious to them.
It's those little things.
It's the little things.
That can make a big difference.
They can.
Right.
And all of this user understanding, all of this failing fast and iterating, it's ultimately aimed at achieving one crucial thing.
What's that?
Product market fit.
Product market fit.
The holy grail of startups.
And as we've established, that's like...
It's the difference between life and death.
Life or death for a young company.
If you don't have product market fit, you're not going to make it.
So how do you know?
How do you know?
When you've achieved it.
It's a good question.
And
it's not just about downloads or initial signups.
It's not about vanity metrics.
No.
Right?
It's about retention. Are people coming back? Are they using it?
For more.
And they're
engaging with it.
In a meaningful way.
Yeah, not just like...
Not just opening it once.
Downloading it and then...
And to
deleting it.
Right.
And he uses this visual of... a leaky funnel.
The leaky funnel.
To describe the user journey.
So each step towards experiencing the core value of your product has a drop-off rate. So someone downloads the app, but then they don't create an account. Or they create an account, but they never actually use the key features. Or they use the key features once, and they're like,
Right.
And they never come back.
So each step is a...
potential leak?
A leak.
In the funnel.
A
point where you're losing users.
And the goal is to...
identify and plug those leaks.
Figure
out why people are dropping off and fix it.
And he uses this example of Waze version 3.5. Which introduced this meetup feature.
The meetup feature.
Where you could like...
Yeah, you could notify someone. And Waze would guide them to your location.
That sounds useful.
It does.
So what was the problem?
Well, the intended use case was parents notifying their kids. But most kids aren't driving. So the feature flopped.
Because it didn't address a real...
need for the target audience.
So it was a good idea in theory. But in practice...
it didn't solve a real problem.
It didn't work. So I think...
So even with a seemingly good idea, you need to validate your assumptions
with real user data.
Right.
Not just what you think is going to happen.
You can't just live in your own head. You have to.
You got to get it. So you got to get out of your head and talk to actual users.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, we've been talking a lot about like
the kind of external elements of building a company.
Yeah.
Like finding the right problem, getting funding, understanding your users.
Right. The market-facing stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But Levine also talks a lot about like the internal workings.
Yeah.
Like the culture.
The DNA.
The DNA of a successful startup.
Of a successful startup. Yeah. It's not just about what you're building. It's about how you're building it.
Right. And so one of the things that I think really comes through in the book is this idea of like decisiveness.
Okay.
Like being able to make decisions quickly.
Right.
Even if they might be wrong.
It's that fail fast mentality again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you balance that with like thoughtful consideration?
Yeah. How do you know you're not just like making rash decisions?
Right.
Like how do you gather enough information to make an informed choice?
But also not get bogged down.
But not get paralyzed? So like analysis paralysis. Exactly. Yeah. That's the art of entrepreneurship. It's about being comfortable. Right. Operating in ambiguity. Yeah. Knowing you'll never have all the information. You're never going to have all the information.
Have perfect information.
Right. Right. So it's more important to make a decision and learn from it than to get stuck.
Right.
Trying to figure out every possible outcome.
It's like ready, aim, fire.
Ready, aim, fire versus...
Ready, aim.
Yeah.
Never fire.
Never actually pulling the trigger.
Right. And he even suggests that firing is more important than hiring.
What?
In some cases.
Really?
Yeah.
That seems counterintuitive.
It does, because like...
Because we always hear about like...
I got to hire the best people.
The best people.
Yeah.
Right.
Players.
Players.
Top talent.
Right. But he's saying that like...
He's saying that sometimes...
Firing is actually more important.
Is more important.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because holding on to the wrong people can be so detrimental
to the company's
culture.
Right.
And overall effectiveness.
It can like...
It can stifle innovation.
Right.
Create negativity.
Yeah.
Slow down progress.
It's like
a bad apple.
A bad apple?
That spoils the whole bunch.
Right. So a decisive leader knows when to make those tough calls.
Cut it off.
Even
if it's like...
Even if it's unpleasant.
Emotionally difficult.
Yeah. Nobody likes firing people.
Right.
But sometimes you have to do it.
And it's like...
for the good of the company.
You're pruning the tree. To allow the healthy branches to grow. Yeah.
And he also talks about the kind of unique challenges of being a CEO. And like the feeling of isolation.
CEO loneliness.
Yeah. It's real.
It's not a real thing.
It's a high-pressure role.
Yeah, you're making these decisions.
With few people who can relate.
That affect so many people.
Right.
The livelihoods of your employees.
Yeah.
The fate of the company.
Your own future.
Yeah. And so it's like...
So having a support system is crucial.
Other CEOs who understand what you're going through.
Yeah. Mentors, groups where you can share experiences, seek advice, find support.
Like it's not therapy.
But it's like
therapeutic.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah. And it's not just about the CEO.
Right.
It's about creating a company culture.
Okay.
Where everyone feels supported.
Yeah.
Empowered to take risks.
Right.
Free to learn from their mistakes.
Like a psychologically safe
environment. Yeah.
Where people can
experiment.
Try things.
And
not be afraid.
To fail. Yeah.
That sounds like
the ideal.
An ideal workplace.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And speaking of taking risks. Yeah. We've talked about the challenges of
going global.
Right.
It's daunting.
It seems so daunting.
Especially for a young company.
Right.
But Levine offers some interesting perspectives on this.
Okay.
He emphasizes that going global doesn't mean simply replicating your home market strategy everywhere.
Okay.
What works in one country might fail spectacularly in another.
Because of cultural differences, regulatory environments, even consumer preferences all play a role.
So it's not just about like translating your website and your marketing material.
It's about deeply understanding the nuances of each new market.
Like really getting into the weeds.
Into the weeds of like
the local culture.
The local culture.
Yeah.
Right.
And tailoring your approach accordingly.
Yeah.
That requires a lot of
research and flexibility.
You
got to be able to adapt to the local market.
It's like a chameleon.
A chameleon that changes.
That changes his colors.
Its colors.
To blend in.
To blend in.
Yeah.
Right.
And he highlights the importance of finding strong local partners.
Local partners.
Yeah, who understand the market.
Right.
And can navigate those complexities.
Yeah, because they're the ones.
Yeah, they're the ones.
Who know.
Who know the lay of the land.
The lay of the land.
Yeah. They can help you avoid costly mistakes.
Yeah.
And adapt your product or service to local needs.
It's like having a guide.
A guide.
In a foreign country.
Exactly. Someone who can...
I'd show you the ropes.
Show you the ropes.
Right.
The hidden gems.
The hidden gems. Yeah. Steers you away from...
the tourist trap.
The tourist traps.
Yeah.
Right?
So those local partners are invaluable.
But even with the most successful global expansion...
Right.
There often comes a time when entrepreneurs start to think about...
the exit.
Yeah, exit. Selling the company that they've built.
It must be like such a...
It's a roller coaster.
Roller coaster of emotions.
Of emotions, yeah.
It's exciting.
Because on the one hand, it's like...
yeah, it's like you've achieved something incredible.
Something incredible.
You've built something from nothing.
You've built something from nothing.
Yeah. And you're potentially going to be rewarded. Handsomely.
Openly for your efforts.
For your efforts.
Yeah.
But it's also bittersweet.
It's bittersweet.
Yeah,
it's your baby.
It's your baby.
That you're letting go of.
You're letting go of.
Right.
And Levine is very candid about this.
Yeah.
He talks about how it's a life-changing decision.
Mm-hmm.
Not just financially.
Right.
But also in terms of your identity.
Your sense of purpose.
Your sense of purpose.
Like, who are you?
Yeah, who are you?
You're not
the CEO of...
the CEO of this company.
This company that you built.
Yeah.
Right.
He really stresses the importance of having a clear vision.
A clear vision?
For what you want to do.
For what you want to do.
After the exit?
After the exit.
Like, do you want to
start another company?
Start another company.
Do you want to invest?
Invest.
Do you want to travel the world?
Travel the world.
Write a book?
Right.
Like, what is
That's next.
What's next?
Right.
For you.
Yeah, because you've achieved this one big goal.
Yeah. It's like,
it's like climbing a mountain.
Climbing Mount Everest.
Climbing Mount Everest.
You get to the top.
And
you're like, now what?
Yeah. Where do I go from here?
What's
the next mountain to climb?
Yeah.
And he also talks about
the impact on the team.
Right.
What happens?
What happens to the people?
To the people who helped you build this company.
Yeah.
Are they
taken care of?
Taken care of in the deal?
Right.
Are their interests protected?
Right.
Do they get to
continue working? On something they're passionate about?
Right.
Or are they just cast aside? Yeah.
And so it's really about making sure that an exit
is a win-win.
Is a win-win for everyone involved. Not just us. The founders and the investors.
Right.
But also the employees. The people who actually built the thing. Right. Yeah. And he's very passionate about that.
He really believes
in employee equity. Yeah.
Like making sure that everyone who contributes
to the success
shares in the rewards. Yeah.
And
he criticizes acquisition deals that prioritize investor returns over employee well-being.
Right.
He's like, that's not right.
Yeah.
You got to take care of your people.
Take care of the people who got you there.
Exactly. It's all about falling in love with the problem.
Not the solution.
Right when you're passionate about solving a real problem.
Yeah.
That's what fuels you. Through the tough times. That's what helps you build a company that's both
successful
and meaningful.
Yeah. It's not just about
making money.
It's
about making a difference.
Yeah.
And when you approach entrepreneurship with that mindset, that's when the magic happens.
That's when you create something special.
I mean,
that changes the world. Right. And so it's not just about...
And Levine's book isn't just about inspiration.
Right.
It's about practical advice.
Right.
He offers concrete strategies for navigating the various stages of building a company.
Like we've talked about.
Yeah.
Understanding your users.
Understanding your users, especially the ones who churn quickly.
The ones who churn quickly.
But are there any other...
Yeah, what are some of the other...
insights on user behavior that stood out to you?
What are some of the things that...
He emphasizes the importance of recognizing that not all users are created equal.
Oh.
Yeah. They have different needs.
Right.
Different expectations. Yeah. Different ways of interacting with your product or service.
You can't just treat them all as one big...
You can't just lump them all together.
Blob.
No. He uses the example of Waze again.
Okay.
They discovered that a significant portion of their users weren't even using the app for navigation.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
They were just opening the app to check for real-time hazard alerts, traffic updates, police traps.
So they weren't
necessarily going anywhere. But they wanted to be aware
of what was happening.
On the roads around them.
That's so interesting.
It is. It's like a news feed.
Yeah.
Almost.
For
driving. Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it highlights the need to be
constantly analyzing user behavior. Understanding the different ways people are using your product and adapting your strategy accordingly.
So you can't just be like, this is how I think people are going to use it.
No, you got to actually look at the data. And see what people are actually doing.
Yeah.
And it reinforces the importance of segmenting your users. Yeah.
So not treating them all as one big group.
But like recognizing that
different user groups
have different needs. And you need to tailor your messaging, your features, even your pricing. To those different segments.
It's like a chef.
Creating a menu. You wouldn't serve the same dish to every customer.
Would you?
You would cater.
You'd have to cater.
To different tastes, dietary restrictions.
Preferences. Right.
Yeah.
So you have to understand.
Yeah. The leaky funnel analogy. Comes in again.
Yeah.
You need to understand where users are dropping off.
In the funnel.
At what stage they're abandoning the product or service.
Oh, yeah.
Are they failing to understand the core value proposition?
Right.
Are they struggling with the onboarding process?
Like signing up?
Creating an account.
Right.
Are they hitting a paywall at the wrong moment?
Yeah.
Like all of these things contribute to users leaving.
And each of those drop-off points is like an opportunity to
improve. To optimize the user experience. To plug those leaks in the funnel.
Yeah.
To make it easier.
Make it easier for people to get.
To the value of your product. Right. He provides a great example of this. With Waze version 3.5.
Yeah.
Which introduced the meetup feature. We talked about earlier.
Where you could notify someone.
Yeah.
And they would be
guided to your location. Yeah. The team thought.
Yeah.
This would be a great way for parents to connect with their kids.
Right.
But
it didn't really
work out as planned. No.
Right? Because
that's the use case.
The use case they envision, parents using the feature to track their kids' whereabouts wasn't really a major pain point.
Right.
Most kids
don't drive.
Right. They're not out there like
roaming the streets. Needing to be guided to their parents' location.
Right. So it was a solution. In search of a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So they learned the hard way.
Yeah.
That even seemingly good ideas need to be validated. With real user data.
You have to test it.
You got to test it.
Right.
Not just assume.
That you know
what people want. Yeah.
Okay, so
even with a perfectly optimized user experience and a deep understanding of your target audience,
you still need to figure out how to make money. Monetization. Right, that's a big one.
It's a big one.
Especially for
startups.
Startups that are
focused on creating free products or services.
Right.
How do you make money?
Yeah.
When you're giving something away for free.
How do you actually turn this into
a viable business?
A business.
Yeah.
So what's Levine's take on that?
Well, he stresses that a great product is worthless. If it doesn't have a viable business model.
Yeah.
And his advice
on monetization is surprisingly simple.
Yeah.
Start with the customer's willingness to pay.
The customer's willingness to pay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What value are you providing?
Right.
And how much are they willing to pay for it?
So don't just
build something and slap a price tag on it.
Be like,
this is how much it costs.
Take it or leave it.
Right. Yeah.
No, start by understanding the value you're providing and how much people are willing to pay.
For that value.
Right. He uses Fairfly as an example again.
Oh, yeah?
They initially offered a paper-saving model.
Okay.
But some customers preferred a flat fee.
Yeah.
So they had to be flexible.
Yeah. And offer different pricing options.
To
cater to
different customer preferences. Yeah.
So sometimes you just have to
Sometimes you have to experiment with different models. To find the one
that works.
All right. That resonates.
With your target market. Right. And he's also
a big proponent. Of recurring revenue models.
Like subscriptions. Right.
Yeah.
Because
for predictable income.
Makes
it much easier to plan.
Yeah.
For growth.
Yeah.
Invest in new features.
Right.
Build a sustainable business.
And we've talked about.
We have.
Not every startup.
Needs
to conquer the globe.
But for those in smaller markets. Going global.
Can be essential.
For
reaching a large enough scale.
Right.
To attract. Significant investment. And achieve real impact.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really about.
It's about expanding
your horizon.
Tapping into new markets.
Yeah. And really.
Realizing the full potential. Of your idea.
Our idea.
Yeah.
Right. And he actually suggests targeting
large markets. Early on. Even
before the product is perfect.
Because
he believes that the learning is faster. And more valuable. In those larger, more competitive environments.
So it's like
jumping into the deep end of the pool.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It's scary.
Right.
But you learn to swim a lot faster that way.
Yeah.
Right. Huh. And he stresses the importance of finding
strong local partners.
Yeah, who can help you navigate complexities
of each new market.
Yeah, because it's you're going into
foreign country. Right.
And you don't know.
You don't know the language.
You
don't know the customs. You don't know
the lay of the land.
So you need someone.
You need a guide.
To be your guide.
Right.
To show you the ropes.
To
point out.
The hidden gems.
To
steer you away.
From
the tourist traps. Yeah.
Right. But even
with the most
successful global expansion.
The journey often culminates
in a final bittersweet event.
Sometimes bittersweet event.
The exit.
Right.
The sale of the company. It's the ultimate goal.
For many entrepreneurs.
But
as Levine points out, it's a deeply personal decision. Yeah. That involves much more
than just financial considerations.
Yeah.
It's about the impact
on the team.
Yeah. It's about expert.
Okay. So we're back.
Back for more.
Yeah. We've unpacked a lot of Levine's practical advice. From finding the right problem, building a team, navigating fundraising, even handling that eventual exit.
Right.
But what are
what ties it all together?
The overarching
principles
that tie it all together.
Yeah.
What's the essence of his approach to entrepreneurship?
Well, throughout the book, he emphasizes this kind of mindset shift.
Okay.
Moving away from the traditional focus on solutions.
Toward a deep understanding of the problem.
The problem is
you're trying to solve.
So it's the why.
The why before the what.
The what.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get excited about a cool idea.
A shiny new solution.
Yeah. But if you don't really understand
the problem
that it's addressing.
Yeah.
You're building on shaky ground.
Right. You might have a beautiful house.
Yeah.
But if the foundation's cracked,
it's going to crumble.
Exactly. Right. And Levine argues that That passion for solving a problem, that's what fuels entrepreneurs through all the
tough times,
the challenges,
the setbacks.
Because when you're really connected
through the
problem, you're more likely to persevere,
to keep going.
Yeah, to iterate, to pivot when necessary.
It's like the difference between going on a diet. Because you want to fit into a particular outfit. Versus going on a diet because you want to improve your overall health. Like
one is driven by a superficial goal. The other is driven by
a deeper
understanding
of the problem.
On the problem.
So it's like the outfit is like
the outfit is like the solution.
The solution?
And your health is like the problem. Okay,
so
and he extends this thinking beyond just like the initial problem identification. He talks about embracing failure as part of the journey, operating in phases, focusing on the most important thing at each stage.
The MIT.
And all of these principles are interconnected.
They all stem. They all stem from that initial focus on
the problem.
It's like go on a road trip.
Okay, a road trip.
You have
a destination in mind.
A destination.
Yeah.
But
you're prepared for detours.
You're going to hit some
unexpected road closures.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll even make a wrong turn. And you'll have to adjust your route. But you're still ultimately
you're still trying to
get to that destination. And that kind of ties into his advice on simplifying the product
and the company.
And the company itself.
When you're laser focused.
When you're really clear.
On that problem.
On the problem. It's easier to like
strip away
unnecessary
features. Streamline processes.
Make decisions
quickly.
It's like,
that minimalist
movement.
Where it's like
less is more.
You only own things that you truly value. And that serve a purpose. You're not distracted by all that clutter.
So you can focus.
You can focus on what matters.
And this
and that clarity of purpose
extends to
fundraising.
Like he talks about telling a compelling story. One that resonates with investors on an emotional level. It's not about
it's not about
manipulating them. It's about conveying the passion.
The passion and conviction.
That
you feel. For solving this
problem. So it's like finding those human touch points. Those relatable moments.
That make it
real for the investors. And he also talks about building strong relationships. Get partners. Not just
sources of capital.
Like ATMs. It's about building a long-term relationship. Based on trust. Mutual respect.
Shared values.
And he doesn't shy away from the tough realities.
Building a team. Like he emphasizes the need for decisiveness.
Right?
Even when it comes to letting people go. And his
view on firing. Being more important than hiring.
That was
definitely raising my brow.
Definitely controversial. But
it underscores his commitment to building
a team.
High-performing team.
That's
aligned
with
a company's mission and values. You can't have people
who are like
dragging the team
down.
Or who are
not on board with the overall vision.
And his advice on understanding users, especially the ones who churn quickly.
Highlight
the importance of constantly evaluating and refining your product or service based on real-world feedback. You
can't just be like...
You can't just build something and be like, this is perfect.
And just assume...
You got to be...
that everyone's going to love it.
You got to be willing to adapt. To pivot. To iterate.
Until you find
that product market fit. So
it's about being
data-driven.
Not ego-driven.
Not ego-driven.
You might have a brilliant idea. But if it's not resonating with users,
yeah,
you got to be willing to let it go.
You got to be willing to let it go.
Or at least
Let's change it.
Change it.
And even when you achieve success, even when you reach that coveted exit, he stresses the importance of considering
the impact
on the team, ensuring a smooth transition, protecting the company's culture.
So it's not just about the money.
It's about building something
that lasts. That's something that's
meaningful. That has a positive impact.
A positive impact
on the world.
Yeah. And I think that's
the essence of Levine's approach.
To entrepreneurship.
It's about
purpose.
Purpose-driven.
Entrepreneurship.
Driven by passion for solving problems.
A commitment to
building
a strong team.
Yeah. And a willingness to embrace the challenges.
And uncertainties.
Of the journey.
Yeah.
It's inspiring.
Insightful.
And
it's packed with practical
wisdom
that anyone can apply. Whether you're
a seasoned entrepreneur. Or just starting out. On your own venture.
He really encourages us.
Yes.
To ask ourselves.
What problem am I passionate about solving?
Yeah. And then to take that first step.
Yeah. Start experimenting.
Iterating. Building. Yeah. Something truly remarkable.
So this deep dive into Levine's world,
it's been
an eye-opener for me
too.
And I hope it has been for you as well.
Yeah.
And I think he's really challenged us
to think differently.
About entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
To focus on the problem. To embrace failure. And to build companies. That are both successful and meaningful. Yeah.
So
what problem?
Are you passionate about solving?
Yeah.
What steps?
Can you take today?
To start your journey?
Thanks for joining us.
On this deep dive.